Narcissists can lie about just about anything. They lie about their past, their present, and their future, your future. They lie about their intentions and their feelings and what they're doing. They lie about what they had for breakfast or what time it is. They can lie about just about anything. But at the center of all of these lies is one big lie that is the root of all of these others. And that's what I'm going to talk about in today's video. Welcome to Looking Behind the Mirror, where we explore narcissism and take our lives back as we make sense out of nonsense. As a quick disclaimer, everything I say is based on my opinions and my personal experiences. I'm not a professional, and if you're really struggling, I encourage you to seek professional help. I am providing links below for you. I want to start out this video by acknowledging that everybody lies. Of course, we've all lied at times in our life. Somebody that tells a lie is not necessarily a narcissist, of course, right? But narcissists make lying a way of life. They take lying to a whole new level. Their life is a lie. It's almost like even when they're telling the truth, there's usually some element of that truth that is misleading or exaggerated. So, of course, everybody lies, and lying doesn't mean you're a narcissist. But if you are a narcissist, you usually, commonly will take lying to a whole new level. And that's what I'm going to talk about in today's video. I'm first going to give some examples of different things that narcissists commonly lie about and kind of break down how these lies work and what they are meant to do, and then pull it all together with the one big lie that is causing all of these little lies. Hopefully to help any of you trying to live with somebody like this or trying to escape from somebody like this to understand why this person is so dedicated to all of these lies, and why trying to convince them to just tell you the truth or trying to expose them or trying to prove the truth to them is really a huge waste of your time. The first thing that narcissists very commonly lie about are what's going on in their head, how they feel about things, what their intentions are, what their values are. A very common thing that we might all think of is if they pretend to love you or they tell you how much they love you. And I should say that when they're love bombing you, a lot of them really actually think that they're in love with you, but they don't really understand what that means. They're more in love with the fantasy in their head of who they think you are and how that makes them look, how that makes them feel about themselves. So these aren't always conscious lies, but they are untruths, which kind of makes it the same thing. So they will lie to you about how they feel about you. They will lie to you about what their intentions are, what their intentions for the future with you are. Or they might lie about their values. They might say things like, honesty is the most important thing to me. Or they might say, loyalty is the most important thing to me, not clarifying that what they mean is your loyalty to them, and their loyalty to you means absolutely nothing. Or, communication is so important to me, or I can't stand it when people lie. Just basically declaring their values, but if you get to know this person over any period of time, you start to see that they don't actually value this thing that they told you they value so much. There's really nothing they do that actually demonstrates or backs up these values and beliefs that they claim to have. Some less harmful ways that they can lie about their intentions and their feelings is when they maybe pretend to be shocked at a news story, or they pretend to be really sad about a story about something sad that happened to a neighbor or something like that. And you know them well enough that they're not actually shocked or they're not really sad. Like you just know them well enough that you know that they're not being honest about their feelings, or they're putting on some kind of show. The truth behind most of these types of lies is that the narcissist doesn't really care about anyone but themselves. They don't care about the things they say they do, or they only care about them when these things affect them. Like if they say honesty is so important to me, they mean it's important for you to be honest with them. It absolutely doesn't matter for them to be honest with you. Or if they say, oh, I'm so sad that the neighbor had this terrible thing happen to them. What they really care about is that people perceive them as somebody that cares. They're not really sad about something that happened to somebody else. So they're creating a persona, either to convince you to trust them, to manipulate you, or just to create this image that they want other people to see them as. Narcissists don't really have any solid, lasting opinions or values or feelings. Everything just comes and goes with the wind, comes and goes with their mood. So even if they say they love you and they want to marry you next year and they want to build a house with you next month, maybe they mean those things when they're saying them, but they might as well be lies, because give it a day or even a couple hours sometimes, and they will have completely changed their mind as their mood changes, and they'll blame that on you because you're the one that made their mood change in their head. But I'm getting a little off topic here. The next thing a narcissist will commonly lie about is their accomplishments. And this could be something really big, like they might lie about a school that they never went to, saying they graduated from a school they never went to. Or maybe they'll lie about, they used to own a really fancy car, or they used to be the CEO of some company, or they are the CEO of some company. Or something smaller, maybe they just take credit for something somebody else did, or they tell a little white lie about something they accomplished, or they exaggerate something that they accomplished, and I think this is pretty simple. This is pretty transparent. They're just trying to build their ego up. They're just trying to make themselves look more accomplished and more important than they really are. They're trying to feel good about themselves by impressing others. And if they don't really have that impressive of a resume, then they'll just make stuff up. Closely related to these types of lies are the lies of things from their history. I think it's really common for narcissists to have all these stories about their childhood, or maybe their teenage years, or, if they're older, maybe their early adulthood. They're just full of stories, and some of them almost seem to be living in the past. And as they regurgitate these stories over and over, you might notice over time that things don't quite add up. Like, wait, how could that have happened if this other thing happened? That doesn't make any sense. And you never really get any straight answers. And another thing you might notice if you have a very close relationship with them, as far as how close of a relationship you can have with a narcissist, you might notice that none of these stories involve you. Even if you have had a close relationship with them for a very long time, they usually won't go over these stories if you were actually there or you had any firsthand knowledge of it. It's more of things they want to tell you to impress you with, and these things are usually greatly exaggerated, or they never happened, or it's just an extremely embellished version of something that did happen, some story that's grown in their heads over time. I think one reason that narcissists do this is they're trying to create a fantasy of who they are, right? And it's much easier to build a fantasy of the past, especially pieces of their past that maybe you were not present for. It's much easier to create this image of things that have already happened than it is to create an image of things that are happening now in the present day. And that's just a theory that I have. I mean, it makes sense that it's much easier to tell somebody about these amazing, awesome things that you did 50 years ago, rather than trying to make yourself look amazing right now using things that can be observed and are easier to see through. Another thing that narcissists commonly lie about is you. Narcissists will tell you what kind of person you are. Things that have happened to you. They will correct your memories of yourself. They will tell you how you feel. If you try to tell them that you feel a certain way or you remember something a certain way, they will correct your own perception and your own memory. They will tell you what kind of character you have. If you think you're an honest person, they will explain to you how dishonest you actually are, what a liar you actually are. If you think that you're an organized person that really takes a lot of pride in how efficient and organized you are, they will tell you, actually, you're quite inefficient and unorganized, and they will try to explain to you why that is any way they can. And some of you might wonder, especially if you have not experienced this, some of you might wonder how in the world a reasonably intelligent grown adult can let another grown adult tell them what kind of person they are. Like, how can you let somebody else tell you what you think and how you feel and what kind of character you have? When you're in a relationship with a narcissist, typically, unless this is somebody that is older than you, like a parent or somebody that's been in your life for your whole life, if this is somebody that entered your life, especially while you were in adulthood, this relationship probably started out amazing. You were probably love bombed. This person probably made you feel awesome and wonderful. And they really seemed to be really into you. They really seemed to adore you or love you or really be impressed with you or respect you. This relationship started off making you feel really good about yourself. And then the narcissist devalued you at some point. And when this happens to you, this doesn't make any sense, especially if this was a romantic relationship. This might really break your heart because you might be totally in love with this person, and then all of a sudden it just seems like this person can't stand you anymore. This person that made you feel so good about yourself and loved you so much, it's like you can't do anything right anymore. And it's heartbreaking and it's really confusing, and you're already completely emotionally invested in this relationship. So you're looking for answers, and you're probably looking for answers thinking that if you can understand what went wrong, then maybe you can fix things and restore them back to the wonderful days when this person really loved you. And when you're in that state of mind and the narcissist starts telling you, hey, I realized how dishonest you are, or I realized how rude you are, or how selfish you are, you're looking for a solution. You're looking for an explanation for why the narcissist has devalued you. And so you're much more prone to believe these things, or to at least believe that this is why the narcissist has devalued you. And you need to look within and, really think about what they're saying to you so that you can somehow fix this horrible character flaw that is your fault, that you've ruined this relationship with. Of course, I hope it goes without saying that when this happens in a narcissistic relationship, it of course is not your fault. And narcissistic devaluation has nothing to do with the person being devalued. It is something that narcissists will always do, because narcissists will always begin relationships with a fantasy in their head that no one can ever live up to. And one day when that fantasy crumbles, they're going to blame you. They're going to devalue you, and they're going to come up with reasons that it's your fault when it really has absolutely nothing to do with you. So anyway, this is a phenomenon in which the narcissist will sit and tell you what kind of person you are. They will lie to you about your experiences, your memories, things they've said to you, things you've said to them. They will lie to you about what other people have said about you, or interactions you've had with people that you're remembering differently from them. They will gaslight you into seeing yourself in an unfavorable way. And all of these different types of lies about what kind of person you are, lies about their history, their accomplishments, lies about how they feel, lies about their values, what kind of person they are. These all tie into the big lie that rules their life, that rules everything they do and creates all of these other lies. And that is the lie they tell themselves about who they are. Narcissists are constantly running away from this idea they have in their head of what a horrible, shameful piece of garbage they are. Even if they're not consciously doing this, the reason they are creating this amazing, awesome, infallible person in their head that they have to be is because they are trying to block out, deny, and run away from this horrible image they have of themselves, of this image of themselves being absolutely nothing, lower than dirt. They can't bear to look at that, and so they are constantly running in the complete opposite direction. Their whole life is a lie. And in reality, They are running away from nothing. They are running away from something they're imagining. And some of you might be wondering, wait, what does lying to you about you have anything to do with how they see themselves? Well, they lie to you about who you are because they have to see themselves as superior to you and also blameless for all the terrible things they do to you. So they have to make it your fault and they have to make you inferior. So they lie to you about who you are so that they can claim their space above you in superiority, and also so they can convince you to take all of the blame for all the terrible things they do. And this feeds into the fantasy of who they want to believe they are. And every narcissist is a little different, but every narcissist has a general idea in their head of what the perfect person looks like. And that is the person that they are constantly pretending to be. They're trying to convince themselves of who that person is. And that is where all these other lies come from, is this constant race to constantly validate and enforce this idea of this person that deep down they know they're not. And this is where the whole idea of narcissistic supply comes from. This is what narcissistic supply is this constant validation from outside of themselves, this constant reassurance that they are this amazing, infallible, perfect, awesome, amazing human being that they're pretending to be, this facade, this image, this character that they've created, this story they've written. They need you to continually reassure them that you believe that they really are this awesome person. But the supply is never enough, because the minute it hits them, they already know it doesn't really mean anything, and they just need more and more and more and more reassurance. And that's why it never lasts. That's why they're never satisfied, because they're trying to reassure themselves of something that is not true. If they really were this person that they imagine that they are, they wouldn't need all this assurance. They wouldn't need all of this external validation, because they would know this is who I am. But because this image that they have of who they want to be is based on lies and is not true, no amount of supply or reassurance will ever be enough, because no amount of supply or reassurance will ever make this facade real. It's like if you were standing in front of an audience that was applauding for you, and you knew deep down that you had misrepresented something, or you pretended to be something you weren't, and you didn't actually deserve any of this applause, but they were clapping for you anyway. And this applause made you feel better about yourself. Like, it made you think like, well, at least everybody thinks that I really do deserve all this applause. And this is like the mentality of the narcissist. They can't ever let that applause stop, because the minute the applause stops, suddenly they're thrust back into reality, and they realize like, oh, I didn't actually earn any of that applause. I don't actually deserve any of it. And they need that applause to keep coming and keep coming, because it continues to reassure them of something that they know isn't true. And this is part of the reason that when you try to argue truth and facts with them, they are not listening. They are bending things around in a pretzel. They are confusing you. They are redirecting your attention. They are changing the subject. They are lying. They are gaslighting. They don't care what the truth is. The truth, the facts don't matter to them. The fantasy matters. Building this facade, supporting this idea, this fantasy in their head, this character they've created. That's all that matters. That's the only thing they can ever really concentrate on, because that's the only thing that they're really even living for, is this fantasy. So it's not that they're not aware of the truth, it's that they don't value the truth. So when they're lying to you about you, when they accuse you of cheating on them, or they accuse you of feeling a certain way, like if they say something like, you don't even care about me, and you try to prove them wrong, you know, you're probably thinking that if you could just prove to them that you really do care, or you could prove to them that you're not lying, that you're not cheating, that somehow they would see the evidence and think, oh, okay, I guess I'm wrong. And isn't that nice that this person actually does care about me? Or isn't it nice that this person didn't lie to me? That's not how they think. When a narcissist accuses you of lying or cheating or hating them or you don't care, they want to believe that. They don't want you to prove them wrong. They're accusing you of those things because those things support their fantasy about how much better of a person they are. It supports the fantasy of who they desperately need to believe themselves to be and how much better they need to believe they are than you. And this is why you will never be in an argument with a narcissist about something terrible you supposedly did and present them with some kind of argument or evidence and have them ever show you any kind of relief or even acceptance that, oh, okay, I guess I was wrong. You didn't lie to me. I'm sorry. Because they want to believe that you are this terrible person they're accusing you of, and they don't really care if it's true or not. Now, some of this might sound like sympathy. I really don't think too much about whether or not I feel bad for narcissists or not. I mean, I think that a lot of them live pretty miserable lives. So I suppose there is a little bit of sympathy for narcissists that I've never met. I mean, I would never want to trade places with them. But that being said, I don't think it really matters because at the end of the day, narcissists are making a choice to stay in front of that crowd that's applauding them and to never let the applause stop, to never look in the mirror. Most of them, and of course not all of them, some of them do break out of this cycle, but the vast majority of them never develop the courage to look in the mirror and to stop this cycle, to face the truth about themselves, or to face the truth of how they feel about themselves. And instead, they hurt other people. They hurt innocent people. They ruin innocent people's lives in their constant pursuit of this fantasy and this constant attempt they're making to escape from themselves. And so for all the reasons that some of us might feel a little sympathy for them, I think these are some reasons that you really don't need to. Narcissists have it within their power, as difficult as it might be for them, to look themselves in the mirror, to stop this cycle, and to actually improve their lives in a healthier way. But the vast majority of them will simply never choose to do that. Instead, a narcissist will swallow you up in a whole world of lies, in an entire relationship that is based on lies. And discovering that everything was a fantasy or everything was based on a lie can be one of the most painful, shockingly hurtful, disruptive discoveries of your entire life. It can take a long time to recover from how much it hurts to realize that somebody that you really loved and cared for, somebody you thought really cared about you, was really just a facade of a person that was never really what you thought they were, was never really the person that you thought you knew. As painful and confusing and horrible of a process as this can be, remember that you are the one with the strength and the courage and the ability to face the truth. And for you, the truth can set you free. I hope this helps. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and comment below any ideas you have for me for future videos. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you like this video and would like to see more like it in the future. Until next time, thanks. Bye.